In 1984, they were the biggest stars in the world, defining a generation with a single crane kick. But what happened when the cameras stopped rolling and the spotlight dimmed? From devastating losses to miraculous Hollywood comebacks, the cast of The Karate Kid has lived a lifetime of secrets. Hold back your tears as we bridge the gap between their golden youth and the stunning reality of today. Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso. Born on November 4, 1961 in Huntington, New York, the Long Island native became the ultimate symbol of 1980s adolescent resilience. At the age of 22, Macchio's portrayal of the bullied teenager turned martial arts champion launched a massive cultural phenomenon, sparking a nationwide karate craze and immortalizing the phrase wax on, wax off. His performance captured the essence of the underdog spirit, and the film's climactic crane kick remains one of the most recognizable and replicated moments in cinematic history. While Daniel LaRusso was often defined by his hot-headed temperament and emotional volatility, Ralph Macchio is known for being grounded, pragmatic, and intensely family-oriented, a stark contrast to his impulsive on-screen alter ego. His naturally youthful appearance, which allowed him to play a teenager well into his 20s, eventually became a professional double-edged sword. He struggled significantly with typecasting and a babyface curse that prevented casting directors from seeing him in serious adult roles. Following the success of My Cousin Vinny in 1992, his career momentum slowed considerably, and he faced a difficult period where the industry could not look past the headband, leaving him to navigate a quiet lull in Hollywood while struggling to break free from his teen idol image. Ralph Macchio eventually revitalized his career by embracing his legacy, rather than running from it, finding massive renewed success with the hit series Cobra Kai and subsequent franchise expansions. He has maintained one of Hollywood's most enduring marriages to Phyllis Fierro, whom he wed in 1987, prioritizing a stable family life over the celebrity circuit. At the age of 64, he is enjoying a celebrated renaissance as an elder statesman of pop culture, actively expanding the Miyagi-verse for a new generation while continuing to honor the role that defined his career. Elisabeth Shue as Allie Mills. Born on October 6, 1963 in Wilmington, Delaware, the future Hollywood star began her career in commercials before landing her breakout film role. At the age of 20, Shue's portrayal of Allie Mills served as the emotional anchor of The Karate Kid, playing the affluent but kind-hearted cheerleader who looks past social barriers to date the protagonist Daniel LaRusso. Her performance established her as the quintessential girl next door of the 1980s, and the character became a pop culture icon representing a blend of charm, empathy, and independence that resonated deeply with audiences of the era. Despite the wholesome, sweet image of Allie Mills, Elisabeth Shue possessed a fiercely intellectual and competitive streak that contrasted with the often decorative roles she was offered. While Ali was defined largely by her relationships with the male characters, Shue was a Harvard University student with a gritty determination. Her professional journey was heavily marred by the struggle of typecasting. Following successes in Adventures in Babysitting and Cocktail, she found herself boxed into girlfriend roles that offered little depth. By the early 1990s, her career had stalled significantly, and she faced difficulty finding substantive work, leading her to take a massive risk on a low-budget dark drama, leaving Las Vegas to finally shatter her wholesome image and prove her range to an industry that had written her off. Elisabeth Shue successfully reinvented her career balancing film roles with major television appearances, including a long-running stint on CSI Crime Scene Investigation and a villainous turn in The Boys. She famously revisited her roots by reprising the role of Allie Mills in the series Cobra Kai, bringing closure to the character's storyline decades later. In her personal life, she returned to Harvard to complete her political science degree in 2000 and has been married to director Davis Guggenheim since 1994. At the age of 62, she remains an active and versatile figure in the entertainment industry, having successfully transitioned from an 80s teen idol to a respected dramatic actress. William Zabka as Johnny Lawrence. Born on October 20, 1965 in New York City, The actor was a high school wrestler with no karate experience when he auditioned for the role that would define his career. At the age of 18, Zabka's portrayal of the golden-haired bully antagonist became an instant cultural phenomenon, embodying the privileged arrogance of the Cobra Kai dojo. His performance provided the perfect foil to the underdog protagonist, creating a villain so effective that lines like "sweep the leg" and the concept of "no mercy" became permanently ingrained in pop culture history. Despite the character's aggressive and cruel demeanor, William Zabka is known in reality as a gentle, approachable, and introspective person, a stark contrast to the high school tormentor he played. This convincing performance, however, became a double-edged sword. For years, strangers would confront him in public wanting to fight him or assuming he shared Johnny's abrasive personality. Following the film's massive success, Zabka faced severe typecasting, repeatedly landing roles as the quintessential 80s bully in films like Just One of the Guys and Back to School. The difficulty in breaking away from this specific archetype led him to step back from acting for a time to focus on filmmaking, where he eventually earned an Academy Award nomination for writing and producing the short film Most. William Zabka has since enjoyed one of the most remarkable career revivals in Hollywood history, fully embracing and subverting the role that once pigeonholed him. At the age of 60, he is riding the wave of the massive success of Cobra Kai, the hit series that successfully flipped the script on the original franchise by exploring Johnny Lawrence's redemption and humanity. No longer just the villain, he has become a sympathetic anti-hero to a new generation of fans. Outside of his professional resurgence, Zabka leads a grounded life residing in California with his wife Stacy and their 2 children, finally celebrated not just for the bully he played, but for the nuanced actor he has proven to be. Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi. Born on June 28, 1932 in Ileton, California, the American-born actor of Japanese descent overcame a childhood spent in internment camps and a struggle with spinal tuberculosis to become a beloved screen icon. At the age of 51, Morita transformed into the wise and stoic karate master Keisuke Miyagi, a role that earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. His portrayal provided a heartfelt mentor figure for a generation, immortalizing catchphrases like "wax on, wax off," and shattering the barrier for Asian American representation in Hollywood with a character defined by dignity, depth, and quiet strength rather than caricature. Despite Mr. Miyagi's serene, disciplined, and teetotaling demeanor, Pat Morita was a stark contrast to his on-screen persona. Originally a stand-up comedian known as the Hip Nip, Morita was vibrant, talkative, and comedic by nature, famously playing the quirky Arnold on Happy Days before his dramatic turn. This comedic background actually served as a professional hurdle. Producer Jerry Weintraub initially rejected Morita for the role of Miyagi, fearing audiences wouldn't take a comedian seriously in the part, and Morita had to audition 5 times to prove him wrong. Following the massive success of the franchise, Morita struggled significantly with typecasting, finding it difficult to land roles that weren't variations of the wise old master, and he battled a severe lifelong addiction to alcohol that often conflicted with the wholesome image of his most famous character. Pat Morita continued to work steadily in the industry, lending his voice to the Emperor of China in Disney's Mulan, and appearing in various television spots, though he never escaped the shadow of the karate sensei. His health eventually declined due to his struggles with alcoholism. Morita passed away at his home in Las Vegas, Nevada, on November 24, 2005, at the age of 73 from kidney failure. His legacy has seen a massive resurgence in recent years through the hit sequel series Cobra Kai, which is heavily built upon the backstory of Mr. Miyagi, ensuring that while the actor has passed, the character remains a central spiritual figure in the continued saga. Martin Kove as John Kreese. Born on March 6, 1946, the Brooklyn native brought a terrifying intensity to the screen that defined the villain archetype for a generation. At the age of 38, Kove's portrayal of the ruthless Cobra Kai sensei John Kreese became a pop culture phenomenon, immortalizing the mantra, "Strike first, strike hard, no mercy." His commanding physical presence and cold, steel-eyed stare created the ultimate antagonist, a character that stood as the stark opposite to Mr. Miyagi's peaceful philosophy, leaving an indelible mark on cinema history. Despite the venomous and sadistic nature of Sensei Kreese, Martin Kove is known in reality as a gregarious, warm-hearted man with a deep passion for westerns, a far cry from the psychopath he played. This convincing performance came with a price. He faced significant typecasting, often being pigeonholed into villainous, heavy roles in action films like Rambo: First Blood Part 2. While he found steady work as the good-natured detective Victor Izbeki on the TV series Cagney and Lacey, shaking the menacing specter of Kreese proved difficult for decades, with the actor admitting that the character's intense public perception sometimes made it challenging to be viewed as a sympathetic or versatile performer. Martin Kove eventually embraced his legacy, experiencing a massive career resurgence by reprising his most famous role in the hit series Cobra Kai, which added necessary depth and humanity to the once one-dimensional villain. Beyond the screen, he launched a podcast, Kicking It with the Koves, hosting it alongside his children to discuss his career and mental health. At the age of 80, he is an active figure in the entertainment industry and a staple on the comic convention circuit, fully enjoying the late career renaissance that turned his most feared character into a celebrated icon. Chad McQueen as Dutch. Born on December 28, 1960 in Los Angeles, California, the son of Hollywood legend Steve McQueen carved out his own slice of cinematic history in one of the 1980s most enduring films. At the age of 23, McQueen's portrayal of Dutch, the most aggressive and reckless member of the Cobra Kai dojo, became an instant fan favorite for its raw intensity. His character provided a distinct, menacing energy to the group, and his delivery of lines like "dead meat" helped cement the Cobra Kai gang as cultural icons of bullying and villainy that resonated with audiences for generations. Despite playing a character defined by unhinged malice and a lack of sportsmanship, Chad McQueen was a disciplined martial artist in real life who held a deep respect for the craft, contrasting sharply with Dutch's chaotic nature. His professional path was fraught with the unique challenge of living and working in the colossal shadow of his father, the King of Cool. This lineage brought immense pressure and expectations that often eclipsed his own acting endeavors. Although he headlined action films like Martial Law and Firepower in the 90s, he struggled to find a sustainable footing in Hollywood, separate from his family name. Ultimately, he chose to leave the acting profession, entirely pivoting away from the screen to pursue professional racing, a move that aligned with his father's passion, but marked a premature end to his potential in entertainment. Chad McQueen remained dedicated to the world of motorsports and the preservation of his father's legacy through McQueen Racing, though his later years were marred by significant health battles resulting from a near-fatal racing accident in 2006. These lingering injuries were the primary reason he was unable to reprise his role as Dutch in the hit series Cobra Kai, a reunion that fans had desperately hoped for. Chad McQueen passed away at his ranch in Palm Desert, California, on September 11, 2024, at the age of 63 from organ failure related to his previous racing injuries. His death was met with heartfelt tributes from his Karate Kid co-stars, including Ralph Macchio and William Zabka, who honored him as a key part of their shared pop culture history. Randee Heller as Lucille LaRusso. Born on June 10, 1947 in Brooklyn, New York, she brought a grounded warmth to the screen in the classic film The Karate Kid. At the age of 36, Heller's portrayal of the optimistic transplanted single mother Lucille LaRusso provided the emotional anchor for the film's protagonist. Her character represented the quintessential struggling but loving parent driving the plot by moving her son across the country in a beat-up station wagon for a better life. A performance that resonated deeply with audiences and cemented her place in 1980s pop culture history. While Lucille LaRusso was a pillar of stability and earnestness, Randee Heller possesses a sharp comedic wit and a background in improv that was often unseen in that specific dramatic role. In real life, she faced the volatility common to working character actors, distinct from the steady optimism of her on-screen counterpart. Following her initial success, she encountered professional lulls and the frustration of being overlooked for significant parts as she moved into middle age. She has openly discussed the difficulty of finding steady work during these quiet periods, enduring times when the industry seemed to move on without her, leading her to question her future in Hollywood before a later career resurgence. Randee Heller successfully revitalized her career in her later years, most notably with a scene-stealing, Emmy-nominated turn as the elderly secretary Miss Blankenship on Mad Men, and by reprising her iconic role in the hit sequel series Cobra Kai. At the age of 78, she is alive and remains a beloved figure in the entertainment industry. She continues to enjoy the renewed spotlight brought on by the expanded Karate Kid universe, frequently engaging with a multi-generational fan base that celebrates the enduring legacy of the character she created over 4 decades ago. Ron Thomas as Bobby Brown. Born on March 15, 1961 in Mansfield, Ohio, the actor and martial artist joined the cast of the quintessential 80s underdog film, The Karate Kid. At the age of 23, Thomas's portrayal of Bobby Brown became a memorable piece of pop culture history. He played the most sympathetic member of the antagonistic Cobra Kai dojo, notably recognized as the student who reluctantly injures Daniel LaRusso's leg on the orders of Sensei Kreese. His performance added a layer of nuance to the villainous group, creating a character that audiences recognized as having a conscience beneath the no mercy indoctrination, a role that solidified his place in cinematic history. While Bobby Brown was a bully pressured into unsportsmanlike conduct, Ron Thomas was the genuine article regarding martial arts discipline and honor. A high-ranking black belt and former competitor, Thomas possessed a focus and spiritual depth that contrasted sharply with the Cobra Kai mentality. However, his acting career faced the common hurdles of the industry. Following the massive success of the film and a brief appearance in the sequel, Thomas found it difficult to shed the Karate Kid association or secure leading roles in other genres. He eventually stepped away from the primary spotlight of Hollywood acting, pivoting towards stunt work and focusing on his true passion for martial arts training, as consistent, high-profile acting work remained elusive. Ron Thomas has since built a successful life outside of the traditional Hollywood system, focusing on personal development and martial arts instruction. He made a triumphant return to the screen to reprise his role as a reformed Bobby, now a pastor in the hit Netflix series Cobra Kai, bringing closure to his character's arc. He is an accomplished author, motivational speaker, and a sensei holding a high-ranking black belt in Kodokan Karate. As of 2026, at the age of 65, he is alive and continues to tour and teach, embracing the legacy of the franchise while helping others achieve their personal best through his Mastery Bootcamp programs. Rob Garrison as Tommy. Born on January 23, 1960 in Wheeling, West Virginia, the actor began his career with small roles before landing the part that would define his legacy. At the age of 24, Garrison's portrayal of the vicious Cobra Kai student Tommy in The Karate Kid became an instant pop culture phenomenon, largely due to his manic delivery of the line, "Get him a body bag, yeah." His character became the face of the unsportsmanlike and bullying mentality of the Cobra Kai dojo, serving as a memorable antagonist whose specific dialogue remains quoted by fans decades later. In stark contrast to the hateful and mocking character of Tommy, Rob Garrison was known by friends and fans alike as a gentle, humble, and enthusiastic man who loved interacting with the Karate Kid community. He did not share the aggressive traits of his on-screen counterpart, making the believability of his performance a testament to his acting ability. However, his professional journey was difficult. Following the film and a role in Iron Eagle, he struggled to escape the shadow of the franchise and found consistent acting work hard to come by. As roles dried up, he eventually left the entertainment industry for many years, working as a restaurant manager to make ends meet, a common but harsh reality for many character actors of the 1980s. Rob Garrison eventually returned to the spotlight to reprise his role in the acclaimed series Cobra Kai in 2019, delivering a poignant performance that gave his character a proper send-off. Tragically, shortly after this career resurgence, Garrison passed away at a hospital in West Virginia on September 27, 2019, at the age of 59. The cause of death was kidney and liver failure following a month-long struggle with health issues. His death was met with emotional tributes from co-stars William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, and the Cobra Kai series honored him with a dedication cementing his place in the franchise's history. Tony O'Dell as Jimmy. Born on January 30th, 1960, the Pasadena, California native began his career in television before landing his place in cinematic history. At the age of 24, O'Dell portrayed Jimmy, the quiet member of the antagonistic Cobra Kai dojo in The Karate Kid. While his character had fewer lines than his cohorts, Jimmy stood out as the only member of Johnny Lawrence's gang to wear a brown belt during the tournament, signaling his unique rank among the black belts. The film became a massive cultural phenomenon, and O'Dell's menacing presence contributed to the legendary status of the Cobra Kai, representing the ruthless, no-mercy philosophy that defined the 1980s teen villain archetype. In stark contrast to the vicious bully he played on screen, Tony O'Dell is widely described by colleagues and students as a gentle, approachable, and incredibly supportive figure. This difference highlighted his acting range, which he further demonstrated by playing the preppy, fastidious scholar Alan Pinkard on the sitcom Head of the Class. However, O'Dell faced professional hurdles common to actors of his era. During his time on the sitcom, he was frequently and unfavorably compared to Michael J. Fox's Alex P. Keaton, a knockoff label that frustrated him. Furthermore, as the 90s progressed, on-screen roles became more sporadic, pushing him to navigate the difficult transition from recognizable teen star to working adult actor in a changing industry. Tony O'Dell successfully pivoted his career to focus on development behind the scenes, finding a second calling as a highly respected acting and dialogue coach. At the age of 66, he is active in the industry, having mentored major stars like Zendaya from their early Disney days. He delighted fans by reprising his role as Jimmy in the hit series Cobra Kai, bringing a sense of closure to his character, who, like O'Dell, had matured beyond the aggression of his youth. He remains a beloved figure at nostalgia conventions and within the acting community, maintaining a steady career that bridges the gap between 80s pop culture history and the next generation of Hollywood talent. Patty Johnson as referee. Born in Niagara Falls, New York in 1939, the martial arts expert brought legitimate authority to the screen well before the camera started rolling. At the age of 45, Johnson's portrayal of the stern, eagle-eyed referee in The Karate Kid anchored the film's climax, providing the realistic structure needed for the iconic showdown between Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence. As the film's stunt coordinator and the man responsible for training the actors, his on-screen presence was merely the tip of the iceberg. He was the architect behind the crane kick and the film's fighting style, making his role a touchstone of authenticity in a movie that defined martial arts for a generation. Despite his calm and neutral demeanor on screen, Pat E. Johnson was a formidable force in real life, holding a 9th-degree black belt in Tang Soo Do and serving as the former captain of Chuck Norris's undefeated fighting team. This reality created a distinct professional struggle. While he was often the most skilled fighter on any set, Hollywood frequently typecast him in background roles as referees, thugs, or instructors, rarely allowing him to showcase his full range as a leading actor. He faced the industry hardship of being the technician, rather than the star working tirelessly behind the scenes to make others look good, while his own name often went unrecognized by the general public, despite his immense contribution to the genre. Pat E. Johnson remained a pillar in the martial arts community for the rest of his life, serving as the president of the National Tang Soo Do Congress and mentoring thousands of students. He continued to influence the franchise he helped build, reprising his role in sequels and maintaining a legacy that was celebrated by the cast and crew of the modern Cobra Kai series. Patty Johnson passed away at his home in Los Angeles on November 5th, 2023, at the age of 83 from natural causes. His death was mourned by the martial arts and film communities alike, marking the end of an era for the man who taught the Karate Kid how to fight. Larry B. Scott as Jerry. Born on August 17, 1961 in New York City, Larry B. Scott had already begun building a resume in the late 1970s before landing a part in one of the most enduring films of the 1980s. At the age of 22, Scott took on the role of Jerry, a loyal and aggressive student of the Cobra Kai dojo in The Karate Kid. As one of the few prominent black antagonists in the film, Jerry was an integral part of the menacing pack that tormented Daniel LaRusso, participating in the dojo's ruthless intimidation tactics. His character notably served as the first Cobra Kai student to face and be defeated by Daniel in the All-Valley tournament, a pivotal moment that established the protagonist's legitimacy. While Jerry was defined by the silent, stoic toughness of the Cobra Kai creed, Larry B. Scott's actual career trajectory highlighted a startling versatility that the industry often failed to fully utilize. In a remarkable display of range the same year he played the bully Jerry, he also starred as the flamboyant, openly gay fraternity brother Lamar Luttrell in Revenge of the Nerds. This duality became a double-edged sword. The immense popularity of Lamar led to significant typecasting, making it difficult for casting directors to see him as anything other than the comedic nerd or the token character in films like Iron Eagle and Space Camp. Unlike many of his co-stars who found renewed fame by reprising their roles in the Cobra Kai streaming series, Scott was noticeably absent from the revival, a professional exclusion that disappointed fans who hoped to see Jerry's story continued. Larry B. Scott eventually shifted his focus away from chasing Hollywood roles to empowering a new generation of artists. At the age of 64, he is the founder and lead instructor of TESAW, the Empowered Spirit Acting Workshop, where he has built a reputation as a dedicated and tough-love acting coach. He remains a fixture on the nostalgia convention circuit, frequently engaging with fans of both his action and comedy classics. While he has moved on from the competitive world of auditioning, he continues to shape the industry from the classroom, living a life defined by mentorship rather than the on-screen aggression of his Cobra Kai days. As we close this chapter on the original Karate Kid cast, we are reminded that there is no such thing as a bad student, only a bad teacher. These actors taught us about resilience, honor, and the power of friendship. How has this movie influenced your life over the years? Tell us your story in the comments section, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of movie magic.